The debate's settled. Consuming right-wing media makes you stupid. Don't take my word for it. It's science. We all know how it's nearly impossible to talk sense into any of these red hats that are out there in the wild. No matter how many facts that you present, no matter how many research articles, no matter how many citations you give them, they'll automatically chime back that it's fake news or they don't believe it. Now, we've all experienced this. These people become more and more entrenched in their positions. No matter how blatantly wrong you prove them to be, they double and triple down in their ignorance. And now we understand the reason why. The reason is because of their mass consumption of right-wing media. And there's two different studies that I think it's worth paying attention to. One by Fairleigh Dickinson, which was conducted in 2012, and another which was done in 2022. So the 2012 research noted that people who relied on Fox News as their primary news source were actually less informed than people who consume no news at all. The study involved a survey that was sent out to over 1,000 people, and they were asked what types of sources do they get most of their news from. What that study showed was that NPR listeners were the most informed out of that survey. And in the survey, they were asked questions like who controls the House, the Senate, the presidency, basic questions that the average person should know. And those listeners or readers of NPR were the most informed. Additionally, those who watched comedians like Jon Stewart ended up having, on average, 3 out of 10 questions correct. Not a great number, but it's important for perspective. Now, by comparison, those who consume no news at all got 2 to 3 out of those 10 questions correct. Those who consumed right-wing media, and particularly Fox News, on average got 1 or just over 1 question correct. And to put that into context, think about this. Someone who consumes 0 news is more informed than someone who consumes Fox News or right-wing media. Someone who consumes or gets their news from a comedian like Jon Stewart is 3 times as more informed on current events than the average Fox viewer. That's a damning study. Now, we have to keep this in mind. The study has its limitations because it's asking process questions. And when you look at the questions that's asked, it's very man-on-the-street type questions. So these might not be people that have a deep knowledge in civics. So there are some gaps in it. It certainly doesn't point to some significant deficiency in intelligence, but we have other measures that indicate that right-wing voters tend to be lower on the intelligence scale than left-wing voters. But that's a conversation for a different day. Now, what's interesting is that this isn't the only study that's out there. There was another more recent study that was done where they took a group of Fox News viewers and paid them to watch CNN. And what they discovered was that once they switched to CNN, they were actually more informed on current events and global events than they were when they were watching Fox News. And that study involved a 30-day period where you switched from Fox to CNN. What's interesting about both of these studies is that it pointed to Fox News viewers being less informed and also more susceptible to conspiracy theories and pseudoscience than people who got their news from other sources. Now, it isn't surprising to most of us to learn that. Think about all of the conspiracy theories that these people believe. These are the same people that thought that the vaccine had Chinese mind control robots in it, that giant space lasers started the fire in Hawaii, that J6 was a deep state plot, and the 2020 election was stolen. So it makes sense why that crowd consistently falls for the most wingnut conspiracy theories, because their primary source of news happens to be a giant conspiracy theory factory. Now, what's interesting and what I'd be curious to find out is doing a comparison between those who get their news from Fox News and comparing those people to people who get their news from OANN and Newsmax. What's the trend line with those 3 groups? Are people who consume OANN and Newsmax even dumber than the ones that get their news from Fox? My guess is that if a study like that was done, Fox News would be the people that are able to build using Legos, and the people that watch OANN and Newsmax can't figure out Duplos.